Rafael Benitez was sacked. He was in charge of Real Madrid for just 7 months. And once the second was announced, Real Madrid president Florentino Perez said, and I quote, "We have taken the difficult decision to rescind the contract of Rafael Benitez as coach. The Real Madrid board has decided to name Zinedine Zidane as coach of the first team." What do you make of this, James Martin?
Well, firstly, we all know Benitez because he managed Liverpool and Chelsea to great success, possibly the greatest ever Chelsea manager. And he won trophies with both those teams, but he was a defensive coach. And you got to ask yourself, why did Real Madrid, one of the most attacking, let's hire a defensive disciplinarian coach after the popular, fairly relaxed Carlo Ancelotti?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand it myself. I mean, like, he hadn't won anything major for since Liverpool's Champions League victory. I mean, like, they
FA.
do. Well, no, I'm talking major like League and Champions League.
Yeah, then 2005. Yeah.
I mean, like, I suppose he was the best of limited options. They weren't going to get anybody like Diego Simeone because he's never going to go from Atletico Madrid to Real. I mean, they weren't going to get Pep Guardiola. Mourinho was at Chelsea and actually had a reputation back then, but they still couldn't get him.
Oh, God, Guardiola wasn't going to go there either because he's Barcelona born and bred.
I mean, like, I think we both thought before this that he was going to get sacked by the end of the season. I think the defeat of 4-0 loss to Barcelona, I think that's probably his death blow. But to sack him, like, it's just halfway through the season. I mean, I think it's incredible.
Losing 4-0 to Barcelona is bad, but you have to take things in context. And the context of losing 4-0 to Barcelona for any team, and this includes Real Madrid, is that Barcelona are the best team in the world.
Yeah, but Real Madrid want to think they're as good as them, don't they? But the reality is that they have a bunch of individuals that are extremely, extremely good, but Barcelona have the same number of players who are also extremely, extremely good, but they're willing to work as a team.
Yeah, Messi. It comes down to the Messi-Ronaldo conundrum to me, because Bale and Benzema can compete possibly, especially Bale, with Suarez and Neymar. But Messi wants to be part of a team that wins stuff, whereas it always feels like Ronaldo wants to win the Ballon d'Or. I think it's best summed up by, was it Bale or Benzema? It was Benzema who scored a goal in the last minute to get a hat-trick in a match. I don't know if it was the Rayo Vallecano game.
Yeah, the 10-2 one.
Yeah, and Ronaldo was pissed off that he didn't pass it to him, so he got his hat-trick. And you're thinking, well, you win as a team. If you lost because you passed the ball to Cristiano Ronaldo too much, you'd criticise the team for ages. So the players should take the chances that they get rather than be scared of Ronaldo. And I think that's part of the Real Madrid problem.
Sorry, you carry on.
Ronaldo's brilliant, but he's an individual. And I think the best way for Real Madrid to move wouldn't have been to sack Benitez right now. Would have been like to think maybe this should be Ronaldo's last season, because it's getting to a point where he's slightly a bit poison for managers like Mourinho and Benitez.
So, James, I'm going to read you some stats now. I'm going to want to get your reactions on them. So, here's the first. Over the course of 18 league games that Rafael Benitez managed, he had a 61% win percentage. Do you think that's good enough for Real Madrid?
Well, the 61% in all competitions, including the Champions League, is that right?
No, that's just league games.
That's just league. But he's third in the league, and how many points is he off Barcelona?
4.
Because Barcelona have had some thrashing. Barcelona got beaten 4-1 by Celta Vigo this season.
Yeah, and they've actually drawn, I think, the last 2 games. Barcelona.
Yeah, they drew with Espanyol the other day. So,
yeah.
So in context, 61% might not be enough to win La Liga, but be enough to be, in the top 2 or 3 comfortably, really. So and he's a manager who, if you look at what he's won, surely his expertise is the Champions League and European competition.
And the team performed extremely well in the Champions League group stage, didn't they?
They got 4 points against PSG, although some people thought they might lose in Paris. And then they beat Shakhtar, they murdered Shakhtar in one of the games, and they comfortably won their group. So in Europe, all things were good. The Spanish Cup, however, was embarrassing.
Yeah, but that's Florentino Perez's fault, isn't it? That's not to do with Benitez.
How should Benitez? If Benitez wasn't manager of Real Madrid or manager in Spain, even last season, if a player is suspended, it should be noted to the manager. The manager shouldn't have to discover it himself. You know, especially when your manager is new. So
That shouldn't be his responsibility.
Perez, I'd also blame that on people that were there last year that should have had the notes to say the guy was suspended. And it was embarrassing, but it wasn't Benitez's fault. To be fair, they won the match. They just screwed up with their player registration.
So going back to his win percentage, now he had the lowest win record of the last 5 Real Madrid managers, including Ancelotti, Mourinho, Pellegrini, and Juan de Ramos. Now we got to mention here that Benitez only managed for 18 league games. All these managers were over a longer period of time.
Ramos wasn't that long a period because he was interim.
I know, but I think it's still like in or around the same amount of time. I think and he's still significantly less. Like all of them had 70 plus win percentages.
Well, what changed Real Madrid was when they went and signed Ronaldo. Was it Pellegrini who signed Ronaldo? But when they signed Ronaldo, anyway, they moved into the culture was they must be really, really attacking, and that like some of their last managers, Capello, Mourinho, and Benitez, are all not exactly known for being, managing teams that are brilliant at attacking, but they are all known for getting results. So what Real Madrid were doing signing any of them if they wanted to play attacking football, slightly beyond me. But the win rate itself.
Sorry, you carry on.
The win rate itself is, it's not bad. Like you'd take it at Manchester United right now, and I take it at Liverpool right now.
Well, yes, absolutely. But I think Real Madrid are a club with such inflated self-importance and nothing less than the best. I mean, they haven't won the league since the 2011-12 season under Mourinho. I mean, when they won the league with 100 points, they're nowhere near. I don't think anything less than first is ever going to be acceptable to them and their fans. And I mean, I'm trying to get you to defend Benitez why he shouldn't have been sacked, because they're worse off in the first 25 games of the season than they have been the last two seasons before that. So should he have been sacked? So was this the right decision after 7 months in charge?
It wasn't the right decision at this point in time. That's more. If they finish this league with no trophies, with the club that they believe they are, you would say, yeah, then you should sack your.
Is this a sign of desperation from Florentino Perez?
Well, we all know who he wants, don't we? And it's almost like he's falling on his sword because he sacked Mourinho. So yeah, I think they want to. I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of weeks' time they release Zidane of first team duty and put him back as manager of the B team and announce that Jose Mourinho is coming in. And I think it's all desperation to get him now. I think they're scared, and I think the thing that's kicked them into sacking Benitez is the fact that I think they think, and a lot of people think, that Manchester United are also tempted by Jose Mourinho. And in fairness, if you look at what both teams have achieved the last 20 years, in fairness, they're on a platform. They're on a level platform. They've both won a couple European Cups. They've both won a huge number of league trophies. They're on that platform. So, and if you look at United, nothing but the best is good enough for some of those fans. So, they're the best comparison in England with Real Madrid. So,
and what I was also talking about with the desperation element of Florentino Perez is his status as president of Real Madrid in danger? Because he's made so many changes in manager. Is he ever going to get the right result? I mean, if I were the other board members, I'd be thinking maybe we should get some other guy in, because he clearly doesn't know what he wants. He's appointed Benitez. No one wanted Benitez. I think they did like a poll in the Spanish newspaper before he was appointed, saying how many people wanted Rafael Benitez. Only something like 7% thought he'd be a good idea as manager.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what's the thinking?
Benitez's time at Real Madrid, in fairness, if you look at what he achieved as a manager, maybe should have been in about 2008. Not now. His stock had fallen between 2007, I'd say, when Liverpool lost that Champions League final, all the way up until yesterday when he sacked as Real Madrid. Perez has sacked too many managers. Everyone wants to see it. He tries to sell his presidency on the idea that Real Madrid will be this attacking force And then he promises that they'll sign Ronaldo, Bale, Benzema, all these players that amazing. You take all of them at your at your club, but but you wouldn't really want the ego of Real Madrid. And I think what Perez has done is he's went from a Galactica era to trying to reform the Galactica era, and football's moved on. And I think Chelsea's a good example of this. Football's moved on to being an egotistical sport for players like Gareth Bale.
Moving on to Bale, because this is my next point. So this is from a Daily Telegraph article written by Mark Law, and I quote, Bale is understood to be particularly upset by the departure of Benitez, who he was thriving under at the Bernabeu, and is likely to seek reassurances over his role moving forward. Apparently, Bale was very comfortable working with Benitez, and he and certain members of the team who were regulars under Benitez were starting to feel like the team was starting to gel together and play as a team rather than individuals. Now, it's players like Ronaldo, supposedly, and Benzema, who weren't happy with them because, they're so, I feel, anyway, this is my opinion, because they're so egotistical, they want to score all the goals, they don't care about working with the team. Maybe they've won too much, although I don't think that's the case, because I think if you look at a player like Ronaldo, that's going on somewhat of a tangent, you think about the period of time after when Man United was still winning trophies and the time he's gone to Real Madrid, I think the players at United have won probably the same or more trophies than he's won at Real Madrid since he left. He may have scored loads of goals, but in terms of trophies, he's not actually been incredibly successful. Compared to someone like Lionel Messi, he's way behind. What do you think?
So, yeah. I mean, yeah, you can see Bale wants to play in a team. And I would say Benzema probably wants to play in a team as well. I think the problem comes down to Ronaldo and the couple of friends, closer friends of Ronaldo at the club. Benitez was a manager. Usually, the Real Madrid manager comes in. The first words are, Ronaldo's better than Messi, and I believe it. And now, and Benitez came in, and I remember his first interview, he said, I have lots of very good players like Gareth Bale, Benzema, and even Ronaldo, So, essentially, Benitez came in not accepting that Ronaldo was out and out the best player in the world, and I think that upset Ronaldo as well.
Yeah, and before we move on, I just want to illustrate how egotistical and arrogant. I mean, how you got to question how well Bale and Ronaldo will ever be able to play together, and maybe Bale won't be able to reach his potential until Ronaldo leaves the club. I'm just going to play a short clip here. This is journalist Jonathan Northcroft revealing he was not asked not to write about Bale's record fee when he interviewed him earlier this season. Here's a short clip where it explains why.
Tiny insight into this, just from a journalist's point of view. I mean, Real Madrid is a club that's so worried about image. I interviewed Gareth Bale earlier in the season, and it was requested to me, don't put in the transfer fee, don't put in the article what Gareth Bale cost. And the reason for that is because it was a world record transfer fee, but Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't like to see that somebody else costs more than him.
You are kidding me. Did you put it in?
No.
Wow.
Don't put in 85 million. Just say,
It's a lot.
Yeah, because Cristiano won't like it. So this is
Right, so there was the clip. What do you make of that, James?
It's mainly he explains the ego of Ronaldo, but it also argues to me the fact Ronaldo almost seems like he's bigger than the club to in some people's eyes when you think about it. When a club is scared to say how much a player costs because another player might not be happy, you've got to consider that as do Real Madrid really believe that Ronaldo is even close to being on a parity with their club? Because it's scary the influence he has on them.
Yeah, I mean, they do everything to please him, but I mean, is he the player he was now? He's peaked, doesn't he?
His best days were, in my opinion, were actually at United in a more competitive football league where he actually won more trophies. But
yeah, well, he won so many more trophies that I mean,
he got the European Cup there as well.
He can score a staggering number of goals, but does that make him one of the? Obviously, he's one of the greatest players of all time, but I don't think in terms of trophies, he isn't.
In 30 years' time, when we look back at this era of football, I think you'll hear of players that played in Spain. You'll hear about Messi being amazing. You'll probably still hear the folk stories of I presume Neymar's going to go on to have pretty much a parity career with Messi, although I think he might have a personality a bit more like Ronaldo. Obviously, Bale.
And just to add that, I don't think Neymar will spend the rest of his career at Barcelona.
He won't spend the whole of his career at Barcelona, but Messi might not. You always hear the taxings of Messi, and obviously Suarez hasn't. So, but Bale will go down in history in Wales because of what he achieved with the national team.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, on that point as well. I mean, Ronaldo, Portugal. I mean, but fair enough, right?
Their best player.
Portugal don't have a good team. They don't have a good team. You can't expect him to carry them in.
But Wales don't have a great. Wales have an even worse team, and they've
That's a fair point. Yeah,
comfortably this time. So, and to be honest, England don't have a great team, but occasionally in tournaments, obviously not in recent years. But
we've gone on a bit of a massive tangent here right now. The final point I wanted to make on this is, according to Glyn Blagey, this has been taken directly from the Sky Sports website, Benitez wants to return to England, and I quote, "A lot of people, for different reasons, have made a caricature out of him. He is one of the top 10 managers in the last decades. He has won trophies everywhere. In England, I think we are feeling he has been harshly treated and he's regained some credit, and that some people feel sorry for him. I think everybody knows what a difficult club Real is and what Benitez can bring to a team." So if you think, because a lot more managers are going to be sacked by the end of the Premier League season, that's a given. What club do you think he'll go to?
Someone who supported his first English club. It's going to be a club that is that's more about the results, or it's going to be a club that hasn't got results for the last couple of years and just needs it. It's also
he doesn't want to go to somewhere where they're like, oh yeah, like Swansea, oh you've got to play like expansive football.
He's obviously cut his chances of having the Manchester United job, for instance, with some of the things he said maybe when he was at Liverpool.
Yeah, I think he'll go to a top 6 club. I don't think he'll go top 4. It'll be top 6. I don't know. I would have said West Ham, but obviously that ship sailed now, even though he was very close to accepting before he went to Real Madrid. I mean, that example just there, he was almost close on to signing at West Ham before he went to Real Madrid. That's the kind of club he was aiming for. When I imagine out of the blue, Real Madrid called him, and Rafael Benitez, oh my God, what did I do to deserve this? Christmas has come early.
You won the trophy, mate.
Was that the Coppa Italia? Are you talking about?
Well, 10 years ago. He's in the 10 years before he became Real Madrid manager. This is because obviously it's now 11 years ago since his greatest success. He's won the Champions League, the FA Cup, the Europa League, and he won the Coppa Italia once as well.
Yeah, that was with Valencia.
And he's also been sacked by Inter Milan after 6 months. So I won the Club World Cup with them though, but whether that counts is iffy. You get a nice gold badge, but I wonder, the one club that brings me to mind, and I can tell you that Milky will disagree with me on this one, is Chelsea, because I think he got on okay with Abramovich. I don't think Chelsea have a wide range of managers to pick.
I don't know about that, James. I mean, I remember reading many articles when he was interim manager there, and he did win the Europa League, is what he said, and he actually managed to bring Fernando Torres back to some kind of form. Because didn't Fernando Torres score like 22 goals that season? Something like that.
He had a brilliant Europa League season, Fernando.
Yeah, I think he scored like 10 goals in the Premier League and then like all the rest of them in the Europa. But what I was going to say was, I always remember reading articles that said Abramovich, oh, I can't believe my board member suggested that I appoint Benitez. I hate him.
My thing though would be that Guardiola's probably going to pick City, and if he doesn't, I would imagine he'd pick United. Ancelotti's going to Bayern. Simeone all comes down to this thing of, one, United might go in for him and might be more desirable in May than Chelsea, and he might feel like their fans suit him more than Chelsea fans, given Chelsea fans' reputation. And if Simeone either stays at Atletico or goes to United, and Pep Guardiola ends up at City, how many top managers do Chelsea have to pick from? Because they're not all floating around. Like, Klopp's not going to walk out of Liverpool for Chelsea, and Ancelotti's not going to tell Bayern Munich, I'm not actually going to manage you. I'm going back to the club that sacked me for coming second after winning the league.
I mean, like, it just seems so unbelievable, the prospect of that. But also to note, as you were saying about Pep Guardiola, he announced today he's definitely coming to the Premier League, and that his club will make the announcement, not him, where he's going to. So I assume he said he signed nothing. But you've got to assume he knows which one he's going to.
He knows, and that means that either
I think it's Chelsea, James. I think he's going to go to Chelsea. I really do.
Well, if he goes to City, and they've already know they've got him, my question would be more that Pellegrini signed a new contract in the summer.
Yeah, but you've got to remember the Roberto Mancini situation where where they lined up him before they actually sacked Mark Hughes. They actually had discussions with him before he even knew he was sacked.
Yeah, but it'd be pretty disgusting to give a manager the majority of the season knowing that they are sacking him, and presumably, possibly even him knowing he's sacked. He could win the league and the Champions League this season. He's got a squad, if Sterling gets injured, he's got a squad capable of pushing on all fronts.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I think he's going to Chelsea. I think Roman Abramovich, because he's always wanted Chelsea to play like Barcelona, and I think he would have said to people, just pay Pep Guardiola whatever it takes, because he wants to move to London rather than Manchester. Well, apparently his wife wants to live in London. I think in his past he always wants to live in the capital cities where he's got a big thing about museums, about culture. He likes to go there. He's even said in his press conference today, he said he wanted to live in a new city. I think if you offered him between Manchester and London, I think he'd want to go to London.
He'd take London to live in, but you hear some of the things he thought of United 10 years ago, and some of the things City have done time. Like City have a lot of his old backroom staff at Barcelona. He's never managed in a capital city actually though, because Barcelona's not the capital. Madrid is, and Munich is.
Yeah, I mean, they're cities of culture, is what I mean. I mean, you're not going to say, Manchester's a city of culture.
Is a bit iffy. But then again, I mean, you see on things like the Daily Mail, the Liverpool players are going out in London 6 hours after a home match. So it's not that hard in the this day and age for his family to live in London.
I just got the feeling, because I think Roman Abramovich would do whatever it takes to get him to Chelsea.
It's interesting because there's two mega rich owners who do whatever to take him, and the ones that don't. Because if I was Pellegrini, and I found out that they were, trying to court Pep Guardiola, I'd walk out either now at the end of the season because I'd feel really pissed. So, if let's say that happens, then one of those clubs is going to have this scenario where there isn't an amazing manager on the line. If Manchester United jump in at Simeone, which they should do because he would suit them down to the ground. So
I agree, but I think we're going to take the stupid option and we're going to go with Giggs. I couldn't explain that decision, but I think that's the one they'll take.
Yeah, but on Benitez in England, if you're looking beyond those three teams, as I said, Liverpool aren't sacking their manager. Tottenham aren't sacking their manager anytime soon either. So you're left with what happens if a team courts Ranieri? What happens if a team, if the West Ham, for instance, job comes available? Because West Ham is a desirable job, and the reason West Ham's a desirable job is that Olympic Stadium is going to change things for that club.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've got
that could be like a cathedral of football. I mean, it's as big as the new camp, isn't it? I mean,
its capacity can be there. It's initially going to be nearly 60,000, but they could grow it to 90 odd thousand, which is pretty much Bernabeu new camp size. So that it's going to be its own cauldron. It's going to be West Ham fans are good football fans. So if that job had come up, the only thing that would attract me to Real Madrid over them is the fact that you're going to get a nice payday in 6 months to 2 years, depending on how well or badly you do, because they sack every single manager they have.
So, right, let's get your final thought. If Rafael Benitez comes back to the Premier League, which club will he go to?
I think it's a toss-up, depending on positions of teams such as Newcastle, West Ham, and Leicester, because where Leicester are in the league and because of the resources that Newcastle could potentially have, as well as what West Ham are going to have. Those two teams are the ones that would suit him.
Okay, so if you haven't got any other thoughts, we can wrap it up there. Got anything else to
Do
say?
you have any teams you think he could go to?
I think it's. I would still say I don't know. Slaven Village, right? I think he obviously started the season amazingly with some great away wins, but they look like I think he needs investment in January because without Payet, they look ordinary. I know they beat Liverpool, but that was just if you. I don't know, James. Did you watch that match? You didn't. Did you?
I saw the match, and I'm also aware that the Liverpool manager accused his team of not putting in 100%. So
They were awful. I mean, that wasn't because West Ham played amazingly. That's because Liverpool played appallingly.
can't defend the cross. So
So I mean, like they looked toothless. They looked like they had no defensive composure. I mean, it wasn't like a massive issue. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure Slaven Bilic will be West Ham manager next season.
So do
I think Benitez might still go to West Ham.
if it's not West Ham, do you see any other club that has some sort of potential for the guy?
Oh, in the top 10, I don't know. I mean, like, because I can't see Pardew leaving Crystal Palace. I can't. But is that like a kind of club that Benitez will want to go to? Though surely he'll want to go to a club with like some sort of history.
He's always managed a club that has usually can sign at least one 10 to 25 million pound player in the summer, as well as some cheap ones. And I don't think Palace have the financial funds, but beggars can't be choosers. And his
But James, next season everyone's going to have shitloads of money.
so the prices of players are going to go sky high.
Well, only for English clubs. They'll say, "Oh, look, you've got your TV money. You're going to have to pay us like 20 million more for this arguably crap player."
Imagine how much we could get for Raheem Sterling.
Because I mean, like, look at the cost. You've spent 35 million on Christian Benteke. So I mean, oh, sorry, big difference, yeah.
Huge difference. Don't want him to be our record signing as well. Jesus. I mean, Benitez might be managing Andy Carroll next season, according to us, and that would be big news.
Right, so if we haven't got anything, I think it's going to be West Ham, and you thought it was going to be
West Ham, Newcastle, or Leicester.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Newcastle. Newcastle might be a good shout for him actually, but if they stay up, that is because
it's about them staying up first of all.
That club should be more successful with the amount of fans they have, shouldn't they?
Yeah, it's got to be attractive to some manager, someone a bit like Benitez. That Newcastle almost represent a bit of what Valencia were. Like they should be so much bigger than they are. And the guy had so much success with Valencia, and to a lesser extent, or even a bigger extent, Liverpool, although they hadn't fallen. That Newcastle, if they sack McLaren, they should jump in for him because I think he'd take it.
Right, okay, let's leave it on that point. You can now look forward to the next episode of Sometimes Relevant, Always Talking Football, the questionably useful podcast. Goodbye.